Good afternoon. We're going to call this meeting to order. Opening items, call to order.
Trustees present tonight are Trustee Arellano, Trustee Calderon, Trustee Aviña, and Trustee Contreras. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Ms. Calderon, can you please lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. Item B, presentations. Item number 1, Impactor Pathways Update. Mr. Jimenez.
Thank you so much, President Contreras. So it's my honor to present to you tonight our team for MTSS, PBIS, and our partners with Impactor Pathway. They're going to be presenting a presentation on our work with Impactor Pathway. This is a program that the school board had approved. It's back on tonight's agenda for renewing the contract. And this is a program that we're utilizing in our upper grades through junior high and high school. This is our very first year that we started using it, and gradually throughout the year we have seen a growth in its utilization. And tonight we're going to have our team provide this presentation to the school board and provide an update on the analytics and what we're seeing with this program. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ms. Jessica Matthews and Ms. Diana Perez and Mr. Rodney Jones with Impactor.
Thank you for the introduction. Good evening, good afternoon, board members, Mr. Jimenez, Ms. Burgos, community. Rodney's gonna get started because he's got most of it, so you go for it, Rodney.
I definitely appreciate it. And thank you so much. Good evening, President Contreras, honorable board members as well. Mr. Jimenez, thank you all so much for having us here tonight. Gives us the opportunity to talk to you guys a little bit about what's been going on here in Calexico with your year 1 impact with Impactor Pathway. So I am Rodney Jones. I'm the executive director for customer success for Impactor Pathway by way of Houston, Texas. On that note, a quick apology on behalf of our CEOs and our co-founders, Dr. Josh Arnold and Mr. Danny Boone. Josh is actually in Houston while I am here attending a conference, and Mr. Boone is attending his son's middle school graduation tonight. So all eyes on me tonight. I'm happy to be here with you guys tonight. And they were looking forward to being here, but I told them that I would take care of this for us. I've got some great things I want to be able to share with you. I spent the last year here in Calexico ISD as the Impactor Pathway Climate Coordinator. So I'm working very closely with Ms. Matthey, multiple school leaders, administrators across all of your schools. I've even been in several of your classrooms this year, working directly with some of your 5th and 6th grade students and some of your counselors. So I've really had the honor and the joy of being a part of Calexico in the sense this past school year. So honored to share some great insights with you guys tonight and some of these details and data around some of the results from our first year of implementing Impactor Pathway here in your district. We're working across all of our 11 schools. I also say thanks for your patience as I stick to these notes. I want to be respectful of our time as well. I think I've got good to go. Awesome. Calexico invested in our current product, which is a comprehensive social and emotional learning platform that basically develops these 8 essential attributes that are backed up by Harvard's Making Caring Common research that we know are proven to drive student success. These students are building, your students are building these critical skills specifically in curiosity, growth mindset, perspective taking, through lots of engaging reflections, opportunities to provide authentic responses where they are written, audio recorded, video recorded. Using our technology, we're able to produce data around the way students are responding to questions within the curriculum. This alignment aligns perfectly at this point with your current district MTSS framework and your PBIS initiatives and goals that we've been able to study and work with Ms. Matthey and team. And it supports your pretty much overall whole child development in terms of the goals that you guys have in the district and across your schools. Our first implementation, pretty impressive results as you see by these big numbers. We've got At this point, 884 active student learners, so students that have engaged with the platform in the curriculum, providing answers, submitting almost 30,000 responses this school year. So we've seen a lot of growth in this. Your students are averaging about 38% improvement in their social and emotional competencies. I'll talk a little bit about more. And the engagement overall from the fall to the spring semester, 12 times the amount of students that were using the platform regularly. What this tells us is a pretty powerful story, we think, around like the successful integration that you guys have had with this product across all of your schools, and of course, overall student growth. We're seeing that, we're able to quantify that for you and for us. What we're looking at here is overall district implementation, and this chart is showing us about weekly usage and what this looks like in terms of how people are using this throughout Calexico. I want to note this dramatic growth beginning in around December, and then it continued into the spring. We had a lot of PDs going on in the fall. We were trying to get things up and moving. A lot of schools were trying to figure out how to use it and when. There were a lot of conversations that were taking place, and then things just really started to take off, and we really started to see the growth. After winter break, we saw this growth, and we saw this engagement continue to happen throughout the spring. So we're seeing more integration of our product and more integration throughout the school day. It became part of the routine that was happening in our schools. So with the 77% of the activity that was occurring in the mornings, we were able to pull data on when students are actually accessing the platform, and that gave us a bit of an insight around when schools are being able to use this, and they are effectively able to embed this within some of that instructional time, so it does become part of what they're doing each day at their schools. Ms. Matthew and I were looking at specific data around our discipline. In terms of supporting your greater PBIS efforts, we can see that Impactors supported your Tier 1 and your Tier 2 SEL and your restorative practices across the district. So we're seeing the overall decrease in discipline incidents from last year to this year. As you see here, the decrease of almost 30%. The sample shows some of the specific decreases around suspensions as well. So we're seeing multiple decreases around the multiple day suspensions all the way across the board. I cannot say this is Impactor alone. It is absolutely not Impactor Pathway alone, but it is worth recognizing that in terms of the work that your campuses have been doing this year around these efforts. And we are very happy to be a part of that and to see some of these changes, even within our first year. In terms of site implementation, I'm looking at the school level implementation pieces. Dual Elementary, don't know if anyone is here from Dual. Dual has been our overall champion here. With they're accounting for 32% of all of their responses of that. They're almost 30,000 that I was sharing with you before. I did have the opportunity to meet and work with Dr. Sammy Gutierrez there. This was one of his goals. It was a mission, and it is definitely accomplished. He did a great job with this one. But Dual really took off this year with the most amount of usage across the board. Elementaries in general actually had a stronger implementation, and we were eyeballing to see what were the strategies that were taking place at the elementary schools. I also want to acknowledge that we did see the Jefferson Elementary had the California PBIS Silver Seal that I saw. So kudos to Ms. Fisher and Ms. Segura for the work that they're doing. And they were neck and neck with Dual toward the end of the school year around implementation and usage with Impactor Pathway. Nonetheless, I do want to make sure that I'm highlighting the promising gains that we're seeing, particularly in February and beyond, at Calexico High School and at Kiki and Camarena Junior High. What this is telling us is that these gains are signaling for us that there's definitely some growing momentum in our secondary schools, and I'll be working with Ms. Matthew and teams to see how we can capitalize on that and continue to grow in our middle schools and our high schools here. 4 quick numbers. Student impact or potential scores have increased 31%. Forgive me for that slide there, to date. So the scores are based on a completion of the activities in the curriculum, and also the level of engagement with those reflection activities by each of the students. So not just completion, but how they complete the activities will create impact or potential scores for your students. The most significant growth that we saw in these competencies was perspective taking and growth mindset. So 60% increase in perspective taking, 47% in growth mindset. We know that those are very essential skills when it comes to fostering empathy and understanding how to be resilient. It's also direct support for student academic success, of course, and their social development. There's a growth also in self-management, as you see here, and in relationship skills. So this is particularly encouraging because we know that these competencies are strongly correlated to improved attendance and improved behavior incidents, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a bit. In terms of our growth in every response, our scores are also in these 5 bands or the different levels of competency. So I wanted to make sure that I highlighted for you all that from October to April, there was a 25% increase in the level of responses and 25% increase in advanced and exemplary responses. Those are the 2 highest competency levels across all of these. It's impressive for a first-year implementation to be at that point within our initial course, and especially across grade levels. It really tells a story, though, about students understanding the purpose of what they're doing with Impactor, capitalizing on what they're getting from it, and they're using the curriculum effectively, not for us or because they have to, but they're using it for themselves. And we're starting to see that in the types of responses when we start to get into these higher levels of competency in those responses. Our 6th graders, I taught 6th grade. Our 6th graders represent the largest user base at 39% across the district with all their responses. And that's pretty revealing information in terms of what this like across all of our grades. Calexico High School students had the strongest overall development. So 6th grade did the most. Calexico High School had the overall development and the highest average scores as they progressed through their use of the platform. 5th graders had the most rapid growth. So they got it quickly. We saw increases in scores at about 50% right from the beginning within those first few months. So what we're seeing here is how Impactor can adapt to like the different developmental stages and how we can use it across all of your current schools and your grade levels right now. The real impact that we see with Impactor Pathway, of course, is best illustrated through your students' voices. When we're talking about responses, these are the types of responses that our students are getting. These are short little samples nonetheless, but these are authentic reflections. So we know that our students are talking to us and they're developing these essential competencies. If they can express curiosity, if they can speak to their own resilience when they're facing these different challenges, if they have a sense of purpose, that tells us that we're all helping them, right? We're helping them prepare for their future success, and that feels good. In terms of these 3, we're seeing examples of curiosity. I felt excited to research more about nutrients and how microorganisms work. That made me appreciate nature in a new way. When we're talking about grit and perseverance, when I came to the United States, I didn't know English. I still did my best and didn't give up until I was able to get to the point of understanding more. And then purpose, as I spoke about a moment ago. I always wanted to be a doctor or a nurse for my entire life. I'm going to be helping people get better. These are just snippets of what your kids are telling their teachers, telling us, telling you when they're responding to these different questions that we're asking them in these reflections in Impactor Pathway. A quick recognition. We've got definitely have some key contributors to the success with Impactor Pathway here in Calexico. It wouldn't be possible without these people. I definitely have to recognize Ms. Jessica Matthew here with me, your district MTS coordinator, for her leadership and her vision. I have thoroughly enjoyed working with you this year so much. I have a big smile on my face because I feel like she's one of my friends at this point. But I do want to present her with this. You can hang it in her office. We're saying in recognition of outstanding leadership, dedication, and exceptional contributions to the implementation of Impactor Pathway at Calexico USD. So she is our implementation impactor for Calexico. Thank you so much. You've been fantastic to work with. I'll pass this to you. I'm also extending a thank you to Ms. Edith Pimentel and Eduardo Perez for technology. I mean, we couldn't get through a lot of this work this year without those logistics that they were able to help us with. Technical setup, so forth, even the additional outreach to schools, as I've been here pretty much every month this school year, trying to get out and about to each of the schools to provide some supports. Your MTSS site leads, fantastic, invaluable advocates here as well. And of course, a huge thank you to our counselors and our administrators at each of the schools. I've worked closely with most to all of them at this point, and I want to thank them for supporting the implementation at their sites. Among those administrators is included Miss Diana Perez from Enrique Junior High School, who I've worked with several times. As she joked earlier, she's bugging me. She's never bugging me. I'm to be bugged. That is my job. So happy to be able to assist with her. On that note, I want to extend a thank you to her, and I'm actually going to let her tell you a little bit more about their pretty innovative approach to Impactor this year and talk about some of the successes that she found at Enrique Camarena Junior High School.
Good evening, honorable board members and Superintendent Jimenez, and community as well. Currently, I'm an assistant principal at Enrique Camarena, and I've been using Impactor as a tier 2 intervention. I'm focusing more on restorative approaches for the students. So when a student gets a ODR, office discipline referral, they go into the office and they do 3 lessons. So, and once they do those 3 lessons, they can go back to the classroom. So I'm focusing more on trying to solve the issues that they're having rather than have them not work on that, okay? Also, what I'm also using is for students that get suspended, they have to do 6 weeks of 3 lessons a day for Impactor. So all the students come into the office. Once they get suspended, it's part of their restorative practices that we do at our site. I'm seeing a lot of positive results with this. Currently, we have 672 students enrolled. 188 have received a referral or multiple referrals. After they've done just 3 lessons of Impactors, I've seen a decrease of 28% that they do not come back. So they know that we're monitoring their behavior and as well as working ways to intervene those behaviors. I did pull that data to find out what are the areas that the kids struggle the most. One of the areas is self-management, growth mindset, purpose, and empathy. So for self-management, students reported they have difficulties with regulating their emotions, attention, and behavior. Also for growth mindset, they said that they're struggling to believe they can improve through effort, and which impacts motivation and perception. For the purpose, they stated that they lack direction and meaning and connections with their goals, which affects their engagement. So so having that information really helps us monitor and work with them, like either reaching out to the counselor, having them guide them, implementing programs to motivate our students to want to behave well. Once they behave well, they'll do excellent in our site, in our school, and with their grades. So that is what we're using right now, just as a tier 2 intervention.
Thank you, thank you. I am looking at our time, and I'm going to be respectful of that as well. Just a quick note in terms of moving forward. I will continue to be bugged as your climate coordinator for next year, happily. We're looking at expanding secondary implementation and focusing on 8th and 9th grade, those transitional years, diving a little bit deeper with those in terms of PD and with the usage across the schools. We want to work on some enhanced professional learning, so we're looking at how to use the data more frequently and more effectively here in the district. We will continue to strengthen those MTSS and PBIS alignment pieces as well, with close work with Ms. Matthew and team and those MTSS leads. And of course, overall, just looking at the huge goals that we have here in the district, improving those overall district outcomes. It's not about Impactor and what we're doing as a standalone product, but more about what are the additional outcomes we're seeing. This is just one sample of one thing that we're noticing, and data can support what's happening at one of our schools. So just thinking about what we can do in terms of pulling data and providing some additional supports across multiple goals and multiple campuses here at Calexico. So thank you again. This is a great first year. We have some great results that we were able to share. We will be providing a full end of year report similar to our pretty robust mid-year report to Ms. Matthew and team. In addition to some of these additional slides that we may be able to provide. I know this is also in the agenda linked as well, and then you guys have your handouts also, but happy to answer any questions later on as they may come up. Thanks for all the help. There's integration of this program throughout your schools in a variety of ways, including the way that Ms. Pettis was just sharing with you. So I personally am looking forward to continuing the partnership with you all and continuing to work and being a part of the Calexico team. Thank you for having us, and thank you again for being a part of this huge work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's everything, unless there's any questions.
I don't know if you guys have any questions. I have a couple of comments. I really like that to be bug, because I think that fits all of our principles. It's kind of like they're there for that. But I really like the social emotional learning component. I think that's something that is missing in most schools or school districts. I think a lot of times that's the early impact to restorative sessions with our students. If we're working with them on Saturdays or we're working with them on after school or detentions, it gives them a purpose of taking a look at it and managing their emotions. You know, and then once we start pairing it up with the absence campaign and then with the PBIS, I think it's something that overall it gives us an edge, you know, to better assist our students on their early processing of social learning. Yeah, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Avina?
Hi, yes, I have a comment. Well, everything sounds great, right? But I'm just wondering, the site implementation slide, I think number 6. I was just wondering those bars, because I see the high school and dual seem like they're pretty big implementing. But the elementary schools and the other sites, the bars are small. What do those numbers mean? I mean,
That
no, before the site implementation. No.
One more.
Probably one. Yeah, that right there. So that caught my attention. So it seems like the high school and dual, obviously they're implementing a lot more. Why? What's happening at the other sites? Why? What does that mean? They're not using it, or
The sites were the sites had the autonomy to determine how they were going to use it, when they were going to use this. There was a lot of conversation around when it was going to work and how it was going to fit into different times of the day. So it was individual usage across the board in terms of how we were going to get this off the ground. So we just had different levels of usage overall. That's what we're seeing here. So in a continuing conversation with Ms. Matthew, looking to see how we can kind of expand that out and see how we can get growth across the board so it's a little bit more
Yeah,
consistent.
that's the goal for the
Okay.
next year, obviously, is to expand the usage and increase
okay.
it across
That-
all
that-
schools.
that stood out for me. Another question, there's a number 884, on probably like at the beginning of the slides. Active students, what was the word? Users, yeah. Does that mean there's 884 students in the district using it
Yes.
out of the, okay.
Out of all of the students that we have, that's why in the
Uh-huh.
agreement for today, there's I think it's 2,000 students or something, because we're trying to increase that number. Obviously, we would like for all of our high school students to be using this, and our junior high, and then our 6th graders, 5th graders. So that's the goal.
And if I could just add to that, so we're using this as, in large part, as you heard Ms. Perez say, as a Tier 2 intervention support. So Tier 2 intervention are for students who have found themselves in a greater disciplinary or behavioral issue. So it's not, we're not utilizing it for all students every day, all of the time. So that's one of the things, right? And this being our implementation year, and then also in a way our transition year. Previously, we had been using a Suite 360, I believe it's the name of it.
Yeah, navigate.
And so this is a transition year, this being our very first year from what we were using before to Impact or Pathway. So we have increased, even from the beginning of the school year to now, that utilization has increased. The high school, for example, just had like an explosion because they were a little bit of a late implementer throughout the year, right? They didn't start right off the bat, and they have a lot of things on their plate. Starting off the school year, there's a lot going on, but then they really got on it and came around and just really increased their utilization. So I think like this year has been a year of adjustment and a year of learning the program and a year of kind of like figuring it out and how it works. I truly believe that as people are seeing, like, for example, Kiki Camarena, the high school, dual elementary, the impact it's having, like you saw, for example, the recidivism rate, right? One of the things that school districts and throughout the nation, right, that is one thing is to suspend a kid. A kid gets in trouble, they get suspended for a day, 3 days, or 5 days. But then what are we going to do to help them to make better decisions, not be suspended again, right? And this is the same case, to use an analogy, in society with juvenile delinquency or criminal justice. Is one thing if someone makes a bad mistakes and gets in trouble, but what can we do so that they could learn not to get in trouble again? And what you were able to see right here is that we're reducing that recidivism rate of kids who got suspended or who maybe didn't get suspended, but just did something that, there was an office referral and there was a parent-teacher conference, and the schools are utilizing this as part of their plan to help the students make better decisions, right? And reflect on the choices they make, reflect on, controlling their emotions, or, having a higher level of empathy, or better decision-making process, or that sort of stuff. And reducing, as you saw, we're showing lesser suspension rates. Overall, over 1,000 fewer suspension rates this year than last year. Suspensions of 1 day or 2 days or 3 days or more have also decreased. Now, as Rodney said, we're not saying this is all due to Impactor, but our MTSS site teams, each school has a MTSS team with an MTSS lead, and which is a teacher, and then working with their administrators, and then working with Ms. Matthews and Impactor. They're implementing a variety of different restorative practices, Impactor being one of them, Me in Mind, which we just got for our primary grades, and we had the Me in Mind representative from this program from Stanford University. Impactor originated from the study out of Harvard University. So hopefully with this Me in Mind starting at TK through 4th, Impactor 5th grade to 12th grade, we'll really have seen that impact of what we're doing, this being a component of it, not all of it, but a component of what we're doing with our students who sometimes make a poor choice, and ways that we're trying to help them make better choices and not go down those challenging paths in life that could later on get them into much more serious trouble.
Thank you, Superintendent Jimenez. I would like to see a sample student lesson plan that they do, that they're required to complete
Sure.
during their suspension. We don't get to work directly with the students, so we just get to hear the experiences. And so I think to help us understand it a little bit more, I would love to see what a lesson plan looks like. So
We
if you
could
can- if you
definitely
can
do
make
that,
happen.
absolutely, Trustee Calderon. And one of the things when Impactor first came to us, that was part of their presentation. They actually showed real, actual student lessons. Just in general concept, though, one thing that really excited me, and maybe just to put a little bit of context for our new board members, last year we had a very difficult situation at one of our junior high schools with several of our students got in trouble. The police were involved. Parents were pressing charges. It was just a very sad situation. And I think it was actually over the spring break. And, I was kind of like keeping me up at night, like, what could we do? What could we do? And, looked into some things, made a few phone calls, talked to a few friends of mine in the profession. And the name that came up was Impactor Pathway. Looked into this a little bit further, spoke with the team, spoke with Impactor Pathway. And one of the very powerful parts of Impactor Pathway is intended almost to look like social media for kids, right? And that's what kids know nowadays, right? They know Facebook or Instagram or whatnot, but it's a way for them to record themselves and see themselves and or hear themselves in their own voice, reflecting upon these is it 12 components from the Harvard University study of what healthy, successful, productive citizens of society do. To be a productive citizen of society, you're able to make, good choices, right? You're able to self-regulate. We all could become very angry, right? But we know how to self-regulate our emotions, right? We're able to have empathy towards others. So one of the studies on brain research is if we are able to demonstrate and show empathy for others, it going through life could put us in difficult situations, right? So the students are able to record themselves, right, and reflect on what they are thinking to themselves, right? And one of the lessons, for example, that was, tell me of a time when you did something good for someone else that made you feel good about yourself. And there's a student that talked about making, for her mom, who was a single mom, and her sister and herself, making a T-shirt for her and her sister and her mom with the same design on it and kind of like a message, and they all wore it on the same day. And it's about like real life experiences, right? It's not some type of fantasy or so, it's real life applications, it's real life experience. And then the student said, and this made me feel really good. That you know, and she said something more about, you know, we don't have a lot of money, we can't afford to buy things, but you know, I made these 3 T-shirts and we all wore them on the same day, and we laughed and we felt really good, and I felt really good doing this for my mom and my sister. And so so depending on the category that they're working on one of those 12 categories, the lesson focuses on that part of you know, the social emotional learning. But Ms. Trustee Calderon, we could absolutely bring sample lessons of real life lessons and videos and replies and responses from students, so you could see how it works.
One more question. So this is being used as a tier 2 for kids who get in trouble, or is it for everybody?
Can
Like
I
yeah.
just speak? So in some of our schools, it's actually being used as a tier 1. So at like dual, for example, in our 6th grade, 5th grade classes, all of the teachers are using it. So that's more of a tier 1 for all students. And then at Kiki Camarena, they've been using it mostly as a tier 2. So it really depends on the school, and it can be used as both. So it's this preventative, proactive platform, but it can also be that restorative portion as well.
Yeah, I know at our site, we're using Suite 360 school-wide. We have our Mondays that are designed for social emotional. But kids that have office discipline referrals, they come to me and they have to do the lesson. It's immediately, they have to log into their iPad, go into Impactor, and to kind of inform you a little bit how it works, I get to see what lesson. So every time they complete a lesson, they get a green check mark. So I count the lesson. Okay, you did 3 lessons. Okay, you're good. So that's part of our tier 2 intervention. I'm also able to log into their work and see they're responsive. I get flagged because have had responses with they're talking about situations that they happen at home, because they're very open when they write. You know, they write. So they'll flag stuff that they want me to go back. They'll flag violence. They'll flag profanity. So I can go back and check.
So Esperas, at your school, you're using Suite 360 as a tier 1
and tier 1 school-wide, and then
one
just
for-
Impactor as a tier 2 intervention. And it's really essential to use different programs, because then the kids get they get uninterested. And so my target, like I said, I had it's 28% of the students that after they gotten a discipline referral, they have not gotten a discipline referral. So for me, it's like really important that number, 28% of our students that got a discipline referral and did not come again to the office, that it made a difference.
Just one quick comment. I think it's important that we look at the school sites that are not using it, especially at the lower grades. You'll hear me say it over and over. We have to invest the time in our lower grades. As a person who oversees the juvenile hall, I've noticed that the youth that are coming in are younger and younger. So our focus, you know, years back we used to shift our focus at our junior high and high school level. Now it seems like we have to focus more on the lower grade to try to prevent them entering the justice system. So we need to look at why is it that the lower grades are not using this program. If you're telling us that it's working, then we need to find a way to get that message across and get the buy-in from the elementaries. That's it.
And to that, Mr. Trustee Arellano, we're very excited with this, almost like with this TK12 pathway that we're building with our social emotional program. And remember, these are tools in our tool bag. We're not attributing everything to just these tools. There's a lot that goes with it. But you know, like as the board approved at our last board meeting, the Me and Mine program, which is similar to Impactor, but it's done through animation. through cartoon characters, and that's for our 3, 4, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. For TK, we're looking at using that TK through 4th, and then we could also show you, bring that maybe at the same time we do a demonstration on Impactor. We also do a demonstration on Me and Mine. We had a representative from Me and Mine here on Wednesday, this week. She was here this week talking with all of our leadership team as we're going to be working over the summer and into the fall on beginning that program. But it's similar in nature, but it's geared towards the littler ones, the smaller ones, and then Impactor is with our upper grades and junior high and high school. But that's a great point, and we haven't forgotten about our primary grades. We're putting it all together. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
We'll go to item C, comments from the public. The board will take any and all comments from the public related to any items in the agenda or any other items the district business that is not on the agenda. We have Mr. Jose Angel Tanori.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Mi nombre es José Ángel Tanori. Yo soy una persona ya retirada de un distrito escolar. Hace unos meses apliqué para la posición de custodia como substitute. Presenté un examen, salí con buen porcentaje. Fui a hacer los exámenes allá en el Departamento de Salud. Después, cuando ya hice todo eso, en personal me dijeron que ya no se estaban contratando a personas retiradas. Les pregunto a ustedes cuál es la razón que ya no se pueden contratar a personas retiradas. Esa es mi pregunta.
Claro, señor José, don José. Podemos tener al personal de recursos humanos, el Personnel Commission, responderle a si hay razones estatales por las cuales estamos restringidos, pero obviamente no puedo entrar en tanto detalle ahora, pero a partir de mañana o más tarde el lunes que viene, si me deja su número de teléfono,
sí, claro,
su información de contacto, nos podemos comunicar con usted y explicarle un poquito más cuáles son los nuevos reglamentos que nos impuso al nivel estatal sobre la utilización de no solamente sustitutos, pero sustitutos jubilados. Así que para entrar en más detalle, le pidiera por favor deje su contacto y nosotros nos comunicamos con usted.
Muy bien.
¿Qué?
Muy bien. ¿Qué le dejo el teléfono?
Sí, acá con la señorita Burgos.
Gracias.
¿Ya lo tiene?
Ahí está el
Ok,
teléfono ahí.
ya lo tenemos entonces. Muchas
bien.
gracias.
Gracias.
Gracias a usted.
Item D, consent agenda. All items appearing will be acted upon by one motion without discussion unless any item is pulled for separate consideration of an action.
I make a motion to approve.
I would like to pull an item.
Which item?
Item number 8 for discussion. Impact, yeah. 8.
Okay. I'll second that motion with the pulling of the item number 8 for discussion. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 4-0. And then we'll go to item 8.
There's gonna be a discussion on.
Yes, number 8. Okay, my turn.
Yep.
Well, I'm thinking about like I mentioned earlier. No, I saw the usage of the elementaries. It seemed low. I mean, I understand it's new. It's it's been in the implementing process. But I think that before we jump into spending, I think $100,000, we need to look to see if the commitment of our staff. And the reason I'm saying that is because I did receive several phone calls from teachers, elementary, one junior high, and actually some people from the MTSS team. I don't know if there was the site team or the district team, but they said they were part of the MTSS team. And what they told me, and this is what they're saying, that they don't really like it. That's why they're not using it. And it looks great. I believe in having programs like this for Tier 1, Tier 2. It's very powerful, very important. Kind of going by what Mr. Arellano said over there. But we do need to make sure that we have buy-in from all staff, you know. Because there's a difference between commitment and compliance, you know. We want people to be committed. That way we get the best results from any program that we use. So approving $100,000, I don't know. I think my opinion is that we table it for now to get more information. I mean, is the staff committed? I don't know, but looking at what I saw, the rest of the elementaries seem like they're not really using it. So I would like to have a little bit more information. Are we going to get commitment from the staff, the buy-in that Mr. Arellano mentioned? So that's what my thoughts. You know, I think we should table it and get a little bit more information. It's going to be worth our investment. And like anything else, you know, we might buy the greatest programs out there, but if it's not going to be implemented to get the best results, then you know, it's something we need to look at.
Thank you. I think it's one of those programs that, you know, when you're looking at anything on social and emotional type of learning, you know, you're not going to see a quick response on a lot of stuff until it gets implemented, right? Sometimes it is hard to get the buy-in of teachers or principals because they have so many other programs, you know. It took us some time to get the PBIS off the ground and making sure that, you know, they started using it. I agree with you in the sense that I think we need to make sure that we set some type of minimums on each school to say we need this many students using it. You know, the example that they give on tier 1 and tier 2, I think, you know, if elementary schools start using it on a tier 1 level, and then there's a tier 2 component to it, you know, that we use it as a tool. I think it needs to be something that is used collaborative with other items, you know, because each student's going to have a little bit of a different learning concept of it. From my view and some of my notes that I took in here, one of the things that I look at is, you know, can they take it to home and learn something with the parents? Because sometimes the missing component on that social learning component is the parental part at home, right? And what part of the parents can we increase in there? You know, I understand, you know, we're looking at $100,000, you know, $500 short. We're looking at $100,000 as an impactor. You know, I think we tested it out from what we were presented last year. I like the numbers, you know, but I would definitely like to increase it. And I think if we're looking at 2,000 students, we could easily be looking at 5,000 or 6,000 students using it, right? But I think it does become a principle of, you know, what tools are we providing to our staff, you know, and then, like you said, sometimes it's commitment and sometimes it's compliance, right? And sometimes we try to get the commitment first, you know, when maybe it needs to be compliance. You know, we bought the tool, we want you to start using it, we need this type of buy-in in order for us to get the commitment. You know, so I'm a little bit on the opposite side of that, right? I'm good with the investment, but I'm also good with, you know, looking at both the commitment and the compliance, you know, and sometimes it's, let's take a look at this tool. We know what we're going to get out of it, right? And a lot of times you're not going to get a response right away from the kid. And you may never see that response of what they learn until, you know, you run into them in real life, you know, and you see the change. You've been a principal before, so, you know, you run into kids nowadays and you see go, you know, they know you because they either saw you a lot, right? Or they know you because, you know, you made an impact in their lives, right? And so I think that's kind of what we're looking at in this area, you know, and I think we do need to take a look at return on investment, right? And I think $99,500 it's a large investment, right? But I think that our kids are deserving of us trying that investment and making sure that you know, we give it a try.
I think one thing that just stood out in what you said right now, I think with the teachers, have the teachers received enough training in order to implement this new system or new ways of doing things? I think a lot of times we know that it works, right? The data is there, but we're not using it enough, to your point. And I think, why isn't it that we're not using it? It's not the kids, it's the teachers. So maybe we need to look into as to why they're not using it. Is it a training issue? Is it, I don't want to say buy-in, right? Because the numbers, the stats, everything looks good. The recidivism was, there was a low recidivism. So don't, I hear that at work all the time. But why is it? Why is it that they're not using? That's where I'm at right now. Is it because of lack of training? And a majority of the time, when you implement a new program, there's some hesitation from teachers, from employees, from anyone when they bring something new to the table. And a lot of it, especially, and I'm going to call myself an older employee. A lot of the older teachers, a lot of the older employees, there's pushback because they're not ready or they haven't used it in the past. But once you provide them with the adequate training, it resolves the issue. So that's where I'm at.
Okay.
And Mr. President Contreras, if I could chime into the conversation. Whenever you're looking at SEL programs, you never know the fullest impact it had because something didn't happen, right? And you never know that it could have happened, right? So when I went back to the root of this, kids landed in juvenile hall, our students, our neighborhood kids, our school kids, because of that outcome. It was horrible media for us, right? Because it was all over social media, right? It was a horrible PR situation for us. But more than that, kids were injured, right? And not only the victim who was injured and his parents, whom I met with in my office and had to meet with them person to person, face to face with very, very hurt parents. So it was the victim who was hurt, but it was also the students who were the aggressors who have been hurt in life too. They are now in the criminal justice system. Now they have a criminal justice jacket, if you will, right? They're going to carry with them for the rest of their life. So any program any investment we could make, and we make a lot of investments, right? But any investment we could make that could potentially help a student who was thinking of doing something bad, and this had an impact on them, and they didn't do it, then I think it was worth every penny of it, right? Mm-hmm. So whether we use it as a tier 1 or a tier 2, we have seen, it was a gradual implementation this year. It was a slower implementation this year. We are expecting a more robust implementation on year 2. I could vouch on that. I also see that some staff are more excited about it than at the beginning when there was, some hesitation on it. So I just hate to see any interference with the work that has taken place. I would like to see that progress only improve and only get better. And with the board's support, I will personally vouch that the implementation of this program is not going to decrease, it's only going to increase. And like I said, every one kid we could save from entering the juvenile justice system or from being incarcerated or then I think all of those investments are worth every penny of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right, Mr. Jimenez. No, every investment is worth it. Something I didn't mention, what staff was saying to me is that they preferred the previous one, the Suite 360. So I'm not suggesting at all that we don't have a program. No, definitely, there must be an SEL program in our district. That's a must to prevent those kids from, committing those behaviors and so forth. My concern primarily is what I'm hearing from people, and based on what I think I interpreted from the data is maybe the commitment is not there. And yeah, teachers, staff, if they're told to do it, they have to do it because that's not their job. They're to be committed. But are we gonna get the best impact out of it? Maybe, maybe not. So my thing was, let's go back to the table with the teachers and see are they gonna be committed? Yeah, the buy-in is not the best word to use, but is there buy-in? That's just my concern before saying yes to 100,000. I'm saying get rid of it. No, just maybe wait and get a little bit more information on that. And maybe there's a lot of people that really want it, and I just heard from the people that don't want it, right? And that's sometimes the case. But I'm just also looking at what I saw, my interpretation of it. That's it.
Students are always the center, the focus, right? And rightfully so, they should be. But we can't leave staff out of the equation. Change is difficult. Most of us don't like change. It's hard to switch from one program to another. So I think it's always very important to meet with like department chairs, key staff that are going to help us roll this out and push it and use it to its fullest potential. So I think it's very important to have communication with them before even purchasing something, and just make sure that everyone is on board so that we can get the best for our investment. Change is difficult, and I think all of us can agree to that. So, you know, I can see, you know, we were using this program, now we have to use this program. I think it's just a matter of showcasing it, demos, this is how it works, and get them on board and get them excited. And I don't know if that was done. You know, we're new, we weren't here last year, but I don't know if that work was done. But I think it's very important because we can't leave our staff out of the equation.
Yeah, and I think from having been here last year, you know, one of the things that we wanted to, you know, initially was it was a lot lower than what we got, right? Our main target at that time. We wanted to make sure that, you know, the schools that wanted to participate, that's why I think dual really got the buy-in. You know, again, in my notes, it was like, okay, so how do we get duals buy in on all the other elementary schools, right? How do we get the other junior high to participate a little bit more? You know, and sometimes I think for me, now it's easier to identify where everybody else has fallen short of participation, and we know where the targets are at, right? So if we leave the high school in dual as the main target, I think plus a certain percentage, right? And then we could hit those other schools and say, hey, you know, we're looking to do this. On attendance, we've done competitive parts. On PBIS, we do competitive sections. And all those are things that, you know, we're trying to improve, that we started from a really low number, and we have continued to do investment. And on some of those, the investment has been a lot higher, you know, to be able to sustain it. You know, a lot of the rewards system, you know, I think if we were able to do good rewards, we would surpass easily the 99,000, right? And sometimes, you know, kids react towards the rewards that are there for them to be obtainable, right? That's why I think in tier 2, when you say you got to do 3 of these items, you know, in order to, for us to keep on working with these, you know, you don't get the additional detention or whatever it is, right? You get the kids buy in, and you're looking at 28%, you know, of kids not returning with the referral. You know, that's a good day in any school. You know, so that's kind of where we're at. I'll call the question for item number 8. So do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve with, would it be possible to maybe when they come back for the new school year, really work with the staff and hands-on, and maybe we've had it for a year and we've had some heavy users, maybe they can be part of the demonstration and give some tips on how they're using it and how it's been so great at their site, and bring them on board.
Right. And one thing,
I'm
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would second that motion. You know, with the comment also, I think that, you know, when we're looking at the parent-teacher meetings type of, you know, that we start bringing in some of those items, so that to see if we're able to get some parental, if I know that we're kind of switching the program around, right? But to me is, you know, when you're dealing with the child, you also deal with the parent, you know, and I would like to see how that could be modified. And then with the, we could set up, you know, at the end of the first quarter of the following year for a presentation and re-review of where we're at with that at that time. You know, because I mean, at the end of the day, it ends up being a contract, right? In any contract, if we're not looking at certain things, you know, you could always pull back. So I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 No.
Motion passes 3-1 with Mr. Castillo absent today. Thank you. Item E, informational items, superintendent report.
Thank you, President Contreras. I'd like to start off my superintendent's report by recognizing our Classified School Employees Week. We extend our heartfelt congratulations and appreciation to all members of our classified school employees. Your dedication, your hard work, and unwavering commitment are vital in keeping our schools and communities strong, safe, and successful. This week is a well-deserved celebration of everything you do, from supporting students and staff to ensuring our schools run smoothly. Your contributions do not go unnoticed, and we thank you for your continued services and excellence. I always say that our classified employees are our heroes behind the scenes. Sometimes they don't get the spotlight. Sometimes they don't get all the recognition that they deserve. But we couldn't do our job of the teaching and learning process without their support and without them doing the work that they do. So thank you so much for all of our classified employees on this Classified School Employees Week. Just want to say that yesterday, I know Ms. Calderon was there. We're very excited to share that it was our first game of the CHS baseball team on their first CIF game. The CHS baseball team competed yesterday in the first round of CIF playoffs. They faced off with a very, very worthy opponent, a very good team. But, you know, just the stars lined up in our way yesterday, and our Bulldogs came up on top with the score of 12-2. The next game is actually tomorrow at 4 p.m. Because it's by brackets and who wins today and doesn't and all that sort of stuff. So as of right before this meeting, our opponent for tomorrow is to be determined. We don't know yet who we're going to play, but we're in the second game of CIF. Our varsity boys baseball team did an incredible job yesterday. I think there was 3 or 4 home runs, and they played some small ball with laying down some bunts and some sacrifices and advancing a runner from first to second, who then went to third, I think, on a missed ball from the catcher, and then they actually manufactured a run. So it looked like Major League Baseball. So congratulations and best of luck to our baseball team. This Monday, is Memorial Day. As we head into our long weekend, I want to take a moment to thank each of you for your hard work and your dedication. All of our staff. Memorial Day is a time to remember and honor our brave men and women who have served our country in all military branches. May this weekend be a time of reflection, gratitude, and rest. Whether you're spending it with family, friends, or taking time for yourself, I hope it's filled with peace and appreciation for the freedoms we enjoy in our country. And lastly, I'd like to share that William Molero Junior High School, I would like to congratulate William Molero Junior High School for taking second place and Enrique Camarena Junior High School for taking first place in the Imperial Valley Boat Competition. This is a Mesa competition where there were over 40 teams throughout the valley competing, and we took first place and second place in the category where they actually were inside a swimming pool and doing Mesa work with buoyancy and flotation and all the physics that go into that. So our students just did a great job, and we're extremely proud of our students for representing our school district and representing the Calexico community with the first place and second place out of 40 teams. So congratulations to William Moreno Junior High School and Enrique Camarena Junior High School. And that concludes my presentation tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. ROP Committee, Ms. Calderon.
Good evening, everyone. So the most recent news from IVROP is career specialists provided a series of workshops regarding employment with a strong focus on preparing seniors for the workforce. And those workshops included 39 public services seniors from Calexico High School that received interview preparation workshops, and 17 of them participated in mock interviews. It also included 23 Aurora High School students from Mr. Felix's class that participated in job application workshops, And it also included 13 HVAC students that received resume writing workshops, and 62 juniors in Mr. Gastelum's class received a LinkedIn and digital professionalism presentation. The career specialists also continue to support work-based learning. They chaperone industry tours to the welding site visit in San Diego and a culinary class excursion to Coronado Beach, which featured a tour and cooking demonstration at Angry Crab Restaurant. And in addition, Ready for Life, the name of the program, has been actively serving 85 sophomores from Calexico High School. They are currently halfway through the program and will soon be participating in workshops focused on healthy relationships, education, mental health strategies, and financial literacy. So they've been busy. That's it for my VROP.
Thank you. Then we'll do board reports. These are informational reports by board members. No action is taken. Mr. Arellano.
Good afternoon, everyone. Buenas tardes a todos. I'll keep it short today. I just want to start by congratulating Mr. Coach Briseño and his team. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I actually tried. Hopefully, my daughter's not watching. I wanted to go to the game, and I asked my wife. But we had a scholarship dinner. So I missed out. For those of you who don't know me, I played baseball all my life, so I'm a huge baseball fan, huge Dodger fan. I don't know if you're a Dodger fan, Mr. Jimenez. I think you're an Angels fan, right? Well, they did sweep us this last week, so. Yeah, you do. So congratulations, Mr. Briseño. I don't think we give enough credit to all the coaches out there. They do an excellent job. They're mentors. They love the sport. They do it. We do give them a stipend, but it's honestly they spend hours and hours out in the field. Mr. Contreras can attest to that. He gives back to our community hours, time, money, and we don't thank him enough. So congratulations to Coach Briseño. Hopefully we get the win tomorrow. You said, and hopefully there's no scholarship dinner tomorrow where I can attend. So I can attend. I'm looking forward for the graduations. I know that's coming up. I'm going to try to see if I can make as many as possible. A lot of us do work, so hopefully we can find a way to attend all of them between the 5 board members. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Calderon, I think Ms. Calderon could give us the play-by-play because she's a baseball fan.
It was a really good game. And I think they broke record yesterday. I think it was 3 home runs, and that's the most that they had done in the whole season. Or at least that's the article I read this morning. Yeah. And true about the coaches, they impact our students' lives in a great positive way. And I think the stipend is just a small token of the appreciation, right? They do so much. So on the student wellness program, last week I attended the student wellness program completion, graduation. And I did not know, I have to admit, that I did not know this program existed. And I was very impressed by the end of the graduation event to learn what a good program it is. So just to give you a little bit of context, it was developed 8 years ago. And this was in response to our high school students needing additional social emotional support. Over these past 8 years, we have turned it into a program that trains high school students to work with Sparks and eventually become tutors as CUSD employees. They go on our payroll. In a school year, they receive over 100 hours of professional development. They complete 16 hours as volunteers in the Sparks program. They build a resume, they engage in a mock job interview exercise, and they complete an exit interview upon completion. Talk about dedication and commitment. They do all of this voluntarily, and they do this after school. 22 students enrolled at the beginning of the school year, and when I attended the event last week, 12 seniors and 5 juniors graduated from the program, and I had the honor to witness it. $7,000 in scholarships were distributed. Parents were there supporting their juniors and seniors. At this event, students got to participate in a book reading, and they each expressed in their own words what the program did for them, and it was very emotional to see. Ms. Esmeralda Garcia and the team are now working hard to register the program as a state-recognized apprenticeship program. I know they will accomplish this goal, and when they do, the state will compensate the district for the students' apprentice we are able to graduate. These are our administrators proactively looking for resources to help our students succeed, not only while they are students, but for life after high school. I also attended the employee recognition. I'd like to take a moment to congratulate all of our staff that were recognized for years of service. They've worked and dedicated their life to us, and they've been providing service to our students. And I was able to attend. We are truly grateful for their commitment. We're looking forward to many years of working alongside them. And to those who have chosen to retire, we also celebrated them, and we want to congratulate them for this important milestone. I wish them nothing but good health and a lot of great adventures in this new phase in their life. I want to take a moment to appreciate the superintendent's office, food services, the maintenance and operations team for putting it all together, and anyone who made this happen, who made this possible. Principal John Moreno for opening his site for us to have that event there. I believe last year it was at Cesar Chavez, but we weren't going to fit there anymore, so we had to move over here to the high school. There's a lot of work that gets put behind this, and it was beautiful. And last but not least, to our students who performed. There's a lot of talent within our student population, and they were there performing, and they made us proud. And so thank you to them as well. And happy CSCA week. I'm pretty sure you've been eating a lot every single day this week. I remember those celebrations. I miss those celebrations from a former CSCA classified employee. I know all of the hard work that you do, everything that you do for our students, for our staff, for our administrators. Thank you. And we have one more day of eating to go, so enjoy it.
Thank you. Mr. Avina?
I just want to say, as you know, we head into the final stretch of the school year with about 10 days or so, right? 10 days of school. I just want to thank everybody, our teachers, principals, classified staff, for everything you did this school year. It was a great school year, so hang in there. You got 10 more days. You know, you got this. And for those who will be taking a summer break, you know, we'll have a great summer, rest, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So Memorial Day is coming, and I want to make sure that we thank the Aurora students and Mr. Felix for having taken the time to participate with the Baja runners in cleaning the cemetery. And then some of them are scheduled this Monday morning, early in the morning, about 5 a.m., to go and set up the flags at each at the cemetery here in Calexico. You know, and that's always important. I think he always takes a group of about 15 to 20 students that help out, and want to make sure that we thank them. Also wanted to thank the CTE for looking and completing those articulations on the basic shop skills and on the automotive maintenance and repairs. I think that they have moved with the articulations with IBC to making sure that we're completely certified, and you know that our students are getting a certificate that is valid out on the workforce and also valid out of the community colleges. And I think if we keep on moving in that direction, we'll soon have every CTE class certified. You know, and I think that that's the goal from a CTE, if I understood them right. You know, and again, now we're in the final stretch, right? A few days left. I think this year went by so quick, you know, but you know, we're just kind of getting ready for that and seeing what's to come for next year, right? And just thanking everybody for all the preparations that will be going on for the next 10 days. It's kind of cleaning out one room so that they can make room for somebody else to enter in and do a celebration, and then, you know, moving on up in and out. Yes, sir.
I just realized that some of us will not be able to make it tomorrow. We have an award ceremony. That's right. So, congratulations again, Ms. Burgos.
Yes,
Thank you.
Tomorrow's the AXA Awards, the local AXA Awards ceremony, and we have two honorees, Ms. Janet Burgos for AXA Confidential Employee of the Year, and Ms. Liliana Santana for AXA Teacher of the Year from Jefferson Elementary School. So we will be at that reception tomorrow night.
So maybe whoever's there can be texting us and letting us know.
Oh, we get the play-by-play.
Back and forth.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. We'll move on to item F, action items. Consideration and action of approval of the following items. Item number 1, fiscal year 2023-2024 financial report and audit certification for Measure V bond.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Ms. Calderon,
I second.
second by Mr. Aviña. Any questions or concerns? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Item number 2, fiscal year 2023-2024 financial report and audit certification for Measure Q bond. And I'll make the motion for approval.
I'll make a second. I'll second that motion with a comment. So it's just the one audit finding. It's always the same one. We can't find anybody to represent the bona fide tax. We do our best that we can. So just to clarify, it's out of our hands. We do the best that we can, but it's not a cost questionable audit finding. So we're good.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Item number 3, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Premier Electrical Solutions Incorporated to replace pool box and feeders at Rockwood Elementary.
I'll approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion for approval by Ms. Calderon, second by Mr. Arellano. Any questions or concerns? All those in favor, please signify by saying
Aye.
Aye.
motion passes 4-0. Item number 4, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Sign Factory for marquee repairs at Cesar Chavez Elementary School.
I'll make a motion.
A motion by Mr. Arellano,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Aviña. Any questions or concerns? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes 4-0. Item number 5, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Multitude for elementary reading difficulty screener adoption for K to second teachers.
Is this something new, or is it coming back, or?
This is actually the state-approved reader screener that the state just came up with a month or 2 months ago. And so we're required to select a state-approved reader screener. So this is the one that Ms. Ramirez and her team, Ms. Flores, Ms. Hurtado, working with staff, selected for our screener for reading.
Okay.
This one
It's a
also has no
requirement of the
cost.
state.
Yeah, I'll make a
And
motion.
it's at zero cost.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a
second.
motion by Ms. Calderon, second by Mr. Arellano. Any questions or concerns? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Item number 6, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and the City of Calexico for the 2025 swim program and public access. I have I'll make a motion with the comment, motion for approval with the comment.
I'll second.
I just one of the things that I have mentioned to Mr. Jimenez and the committee in here is that when we're looking to pair up with the City of Calexico, we also should be looking to making sure that we're recovering the cost. I know some of them are, the kids that are participating are students and stuff, but there is a lot of expenditure that goes into the pool and other items. And we want to, make sure that it's available for the usage of the school primarily. But then when we are opening out to the community for community access, is that they're paying their fair share during that time. So I have a motion and a second. I don't know if there's any comments or concerns. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes 4-0. Item number 7, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Positive Adventures to provide team building curriculum inside and outside of classroom during summer camp 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a motion by Ms. Calderon,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Aviña. Questions or concerns? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Item number 8, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and school leaders for consultation on general services.
Make a motion to approve?
Have a motion by Ms. Calderon,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Arellano. Questions or concerns? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes 4-0. Item number 9, board action approval. Board action to approve the Associated Calexico Teachers ACT Sunshine Initiative proposal to Calexico Unified School District for negotiations on successor collective bargaining agreement. I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second by Ms. Calderon. All those in, questions or concerns? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Item number 10, board action to approve Calexico Unified School District Sunshine initial proposal to the Teachers Association Act for negotiations on successor collective bargaining agreement.
Make a motion to approve?
I have a motion by Ms. Calderon. I'll second that motion. Questions or concerns? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Item number 11, bid award and approval of agreement between Calexico Unified School District and A&N Quality Builders for Calexico High School and Kennedy Gardens paving project. Do I have a motion?
2 bids came in, right?
Mr.
Nielsen and.
Yes, and this was the best responsive bid.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Ms. Calderon, second by Mr. Arellano. Any other questions or concerns? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes 4-0. Item number 12, bid award and approval of agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Vicks Air Conditioning and Electrical for HVAC replacement at Calexico High School, Barners Gym.
In question, we only got one, right? We only got one response. How are we putting it out there to see if we can get more?
If I could ask
what tools
Mr.
are we
De
using?
La Torre to approach the podium. We did make 2 attempts to get more bids, if you will, more quotes on this, and on both attempts it was the same the only one company. This is a 25 ton units, so it's not your typical
everybody can
window unit.
Provide
But
that.
Mr. De La Torre, if you'd like to add a little bit more to that.
Yeah, that is correct. We only did receive one bid. We did put it out in planted bids. We put it on our website. And because originally we had the situation where the 2 AC units went down, and you mentioned regarding the retirement gathering that we had, you probably noticed that we had 2 temporary AC units that were functioning there. And so it is an urgency. We didn't deem it necessarily an emergency, so we went through the proper bid process. Originally, we had reached out to other vendors. We didn't know the extent of the cost that it was going to be. We did have another vendor that didn't come out and take a look at it, but provided a quote. All vendors that we normally work with were also communicated with directly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Mr. Arellano, second by Ms. Calderon. Any questions or concerns? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Item number 13, resolution authorizing assignment outside of major for 2025-2026 school year.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion for approval. I'll second that motion.
Bless you.
Questions or concerns? Okay. This is resolution, Mr. Arellano,
Yes.
Ms. Calderon,
Yes.
Mr. Aviña,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Motion passes 4-0. Item number 14, resolution regarding disposition of surplus assets, non-assets, kits, and equipment in maintenance and operations department.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Ms. Calderon, second by Mr. Arellano. Questions or concerns? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Roll
Aye.
call.
Oh, I'm
That's a
sorry, it's a
resolution.
resolution. Mr. Arellano,
Yes.
Ms. Calderon,
Yes.
Mr. Avina,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. Motion passes 4-0. Item number 15, resolution regarding disposition of surplus assets, non-assets, technological equipment at district's office, IT department.
Make a motion to approve?
Have a motion by Ms. Calderon. I'll second that motion. Any questions or concerns? Mr. Arellano,
Yes.
Ms. Calderon,
Yes.
Mr. Avina,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Motion passes 4-0. Announcement to convene into closed session. We'll be back.